True compassion is never about holding on to someone with all your might. It is about allowing everything to unfold naturally, not forcing a connection to continue, not begging someone to stay, letting the water flow where it wants to flow, letting those who need to leave do so with dignity. These few sentences sound simple enough, but in the long journey of our lives, this is often the hardest spiritual lesson to cross. Most of us have walked through storms and struggles. By the time we reach middle age, the pain we carry is usually not about what we lost. It is about the deep resistance inside us, the refusal to accept that loss. We keep pulling out that old, yellowed map from the past, trying to navigate a world that has already changed beyond recognition. The only result is spinning in circles, draining ourselves of every last drop of energy and spirit. This is Zen Seeker Wu today. I want to sit down and talk with you slowly about a few insights on letting go. This is absolutely not about teaching you to run away from life. It is a kind of survival wisdom that allows us to live with more clarity and more inner strength in this complicated world. Before we begin this journey of the heart, I want you to quietly think about something. When you clench your fists as tightly as you can, you are actually holding nothing. Inside your palms, there is only air and the heavy weight of your own attachment. But when you are willing to open your hands, to stop controlling, to stop possessing, you suddenly have the space to receive the entire world. So often we take the coming and going of human connection far too seriously. We believe that once a relationship begins, it must last forever. We treat permanence as the only measure of whether a bond has value. But if you quiet your mind and observe the changing of seasons in nature, if you watch the rise and fall of things around you, you will understand everything in this world is constantly changing and flowing. In physics, there is a principle that says things naturally move from order toward disorder. Scattering and change are the default state of the universe. Those brief moments of togetherness and companionship are actually rare miracles in the long river of time. So if you also hope to find a sense of inner peace in this unpredictable life, if you want to build a philosophy that keeps you steady no matter what storms blow through, please subscribe to this channel and give this video a like. This is not just support for what I share, it is a promise of growth you are making to yourself. If you happen to be stuck right now in a relationship that is draining you, or if you are facing separation with deep fear and helplessness, please leave your voice in the comments. Write down one sentence. I am willing to allow everything to unfold. Let us gather in this small space and create a field of energy where we can support and warm each other. Now, let us bring our hearts back and talk about the nature of connection. We grow up hearing the phrase, "go with the flow." In my experience, connection is never some vague superstition. It is simply two people whose life paths happen to tune into the same frequency during a particular window of time, when you see the world through similar eyes, when your inner longings complement each other, when your rhythms of life align just right. The relationship becomes like a solid bridge. It is like two stars in the vast universe, drawn together by gravity, lighting each other up. But every one of us is an independent living being who breathes, thinks, and keeps moving forward. Every day we encounter new people and new experiences. We are quietly changing all the time. The idea you held firmly yesterday might feel unimportant today. The goal he chased desperately a few years ago might have already shifted direction this year. When two people no longer grow at the same pace, when the directions they look toward begin to diverge, that unspoken understanding between them will slowly fade. The force that once held them together will dissolve. At that point, separation becomes a natural outcome, like a ripe fruit that will eventually leave the branch. I want to tell you a true story from a tea garden in the mountains. I know an old tea farmer who spent most of his life growing tea. He had one particularly precious 100-year-old tea tree passed down from his grandfather. Every year it produced tea with a rich, deep flavor. It was the treasure of his heart. One summer, a rare and violent storm swept through the mountains. One of the main branches of the old tree was snapped clean off, hanging by just a thin strip of bark. The old farmer was heartbroken. He could not bear to cut it away, so he found the strongest rope he could and tied the broken branch tightly back to the trunk. He applied all kinds of protective ointments, He stood guard by the tree every day, hoping it would heal. But nature has its own rules. The broken branch did not heal. Instead, because the wound was sealed in and could not breathe, it began to turn black and rot. It even started to infect the healthy trunk. The leaves of the entire old tree began to yellow. Later, an elder who understood trees came up the mountain to take a look. He sighed, picked up a saw, and with one clean cut removed the rotting branch completely. Then he rubbed a bit of clay over the smooth cut. The elder told him, a tree has its own life. When something breaks, it means that connection has run its course. Forcing it back together is not saving the tree. It is killing the whole thing. You have to let it break cleanly so it has the strength to grow new buds next spring. Sure enough, the following spring, right beside that clean cut, a few bright green new leaves appeared. This story is exactly the same as what happens between people. We always think we know better. We try to salvage relationships that have already broken. We believe that if we just try a little harder, compromise a little more, we can go back to the way things were. But this is actually the greatest illusion we commit in matters of the heart. Next, I want to share a few core insights with you. I hope they can help untie the knot inside you. The first insight is this: clinging to a sunken past is borrowing against the vitality of your future. We often fall into a cognitive trap. We think that when a relationship reaches its end, the most painful thing is the person leaving. It is not. What truly devastates us is the refusal to accept it. We cannot accept that we gave so many years of our youth. We cannot accept that we endured so many hard days. We cannot accept that the emotions we invested have come to nothing. In the world of everyday struggles, this is like buying a stock that keeps falling. Because you have already lost so much, you refuse to sell. You hold on desperately, fantasizing that one day it will bounce back. Ancient wisdom saw through the truth of all things long ago. It tells us that everything changes. Nothing can stay in one place forever. When a person has already decided to leave, when a relationship or friendship exists in name only, that is the most honest reality of this moment. No matter how much you want to go back, it is simply impossible. It is like having an expensive but completely broken old sofa in your living room. You cannot bear to throw it away. It sits there taking up space. Every day you look at it and you do not even have room for new furniture. You are sacrificing the quality of your present and future life for costs you can never recover. This is a heartbreaking form of self-destruction. You must understand that no matter how much pain you feel right now, what has already happened and what has already been given cannot be taken back. If you continue using tears and arguments to force a connection, you will not find the old sweetness. You will only grind away whatever beautiful memories remain between you. When you spend all your strength looking backward, you naturally have no strength to move forward. Life is a one-way road. We can only drive forward. The scenery in the rearview mirror may be beautiful, but if you keep staring at it, sooner or later you will crash into the wall ahead. The second insight is this: coming together and drifting apart are simply the alternation of energy. When autumn leaves fall, it is not because the tree is heartless. We always like to blame a separation on one specific argument, or one misunderstanding that was never properly explained. Many people in their middle years, in the quiet of the night, cannot help but think, if I had been a little more patient that day, if we had not turned on each other over that small thing, maybe we could still be sitting together sharing a meal. This kind of thinking is looking at something complex in far too shallow a way. Those explosive arguments, those disappointing moments, were merely the cracks that already existed deep beneath the surface of the relationship, finally showing themselves at a particular point in time. They are the result. They are not the cause. It is like autumn arriving and the leaves on the tree turning yellow and falling. This is not because the autumn wind is cruel. It is not because the tree refuses to hold on. It is because the cycle of seasons has reached this stage. The internal structure of the leaf has completed its purpose. It is no longer suited to hang on the branch. If you insist on gluing a withered leaf back onto the tree, it not only looks strange, it also blocks the space where new buds need to grow next year. The meeting of two people is essentially an exchange of energy and a learning of lessons. Some people come into your life to teach you what love and acceptance mean through their tenderness. Some people appear to teach you what independence and strength mean through their departure. Some people walk through your life only to give you one incredibly deep lesson, to show you the complexity of human nature, and then they turn and leave. When that person has completed their task in your life, the thread between you will naturally loosen. Once you see this clearly, you can release the resentment in your heart and peacefully accept every farewell. You will understand that their leaving is not a rejection of you. It is that you both completed a journey together, and now you have reached the fork in the road where you must go your separate ways. The third insight is this: keep your inner core steady. Be the most stable passenger on the train of your own life. Life is like a train that keeps rumbling forward. When each of us is born, we hold only a one-way ticket. You can close your eyes and imagine it. You are sitting by the window, watching the scenery outside, constantly receding. On this train, no one is guaranteed to ride with you from the first stop to the last. At every station, people get on and people get off. You will meet all kinds of people. Some hold you from the very first station. Those are your parents. Some squeeze onto the train midway and sit beside you. Those are your partners, friends, or colleagues. You might share a meal together. You might watch the sunset through the window and talk. The smiles and warmth in those moments are absolutely real, but please keep a quiet awareness in your heart. Everyone has a different final stop. If one day, the person who has been beside you for a long time suddenly stands up, gathers their bags, and calmly tells you they need to get off, your first reaction will certainly be fear, and you will instinctively reach for their sleeve, begging them to stay just one more stop. You might even impulsively want to jump off the train with them. Please take a deep breath in that moment. Stop. These impulses come from a lack of confidence in your ability to face life alone. They need to get off at this station because in the script of their life, this is where they belong or where their new beginning starts. Your road is still ahead. If you pull them back and refuse to let them go, they will resent you for making them miss their own scenery. If you blindly follow them off the train, you will stand on a completely unfamiliar platform, watching your own train pull away, filled with confusion and regret. So the most graceful thing to do is smile. Wave goodbye, say take care, thank them for the companionship along the way, then straighten your seat and continue sitting peacefully, enjoying the next stretch of scenery that belongs to you. This state is what the ancients described as the difference between an ordinary mind that is tossed by circumstances and a wise mind that remains centered regardless of what changes around it. Your inner core is solid, but your attitude toward external change is soft and flowing. The fourth insight is this: filter out the passers-by who do not belong to you. Keep only the genuine hearts that time has proven. A large part of why we feel so much pain in life is that we love picking through the rubble of memory, trying to build a new shelter out of broken pieces. How could that ever be sturdy? The truly wise way to live is to cherish those who cherish you, and release those who have already given up on you. This is not just a clean and decisive attitude toward life. It is a form of minimalism that follows natural law. In human relationships, there is a very simple truth. Only spend time with people who genuinely want to be with you. Those who choose to leave, no matter how beautiful the promises you once shared, the moment the connection runs out, they have already exited the stage of your life. It is like going to a temple to pray. You light your incense sincerely. You ask for peace. Then you walk out the door and you must let it go. You continue living your own life. You do not spend every day obsessing over whether the heavens actually heard you. Time is the most ruthless and most fair filter in this world. It says nothing, yet it sifts away all the insincerity and all the people who do not fit. In the long river of time, those who get washed away never belonged to you in the first place. And those who have weathered every storm with you, who have seen all your vulnerability and imperfection, and still choose to stand steadily beside you, those are the most precious treasures in your life. So do not be afraid of loss. When someone is determined to leave, it means their lesson in your life has been fully taught. What we call compassion in this moment is releasing the other person, not letting them leave carrying heavy guilt, and more importantly, it is releasing yourself, not letting yourself sink deeper into the swamp of despair. When you let go of them, you are actually setting yourself free. You are giving your heart permission to breathe fresh air again. The fifth insight is this: light the lamp inside your own heart. Do not depend on the light of others. We often hear people say, when you bloom, the breeze will come on its own. This sounds like a cliché, but the truth inside it is very profound. A person whose inner world is full carries a self-sustaining energy system within them. Everyone should have a lamp that burns steadily inside their own heart. The arrival of another person might be like a gentle breeze that makes your lamp burn a little brighter, adding some color to your life. But the departure of another person must never be allowed to extinguish your flame. If your happiness, your sadness, all of your light depends entirely on what another person gives you, then you will always be small and insecure in that relationship. Your joy will be like a candle placed in the wind, ready to be blown out at any moment. True stability comes from the richness within you. It comes from your own recognition of your own worth. You should live like water. Water flows over mountains without insisting on staying at the peak. It flows across plains without clinging to the flowers and grass. It simply flows quietly, nourishing everything along the way, yet never possessing anything. We live in this messy, beautiful human world. We love people. We experience relationships. We should throw ourselves in wholeheartedly, but we must never develop the obsession of needing to control the other person. Love deeply, but never become entangled. You can think of it as a very sincere experience. You enjoy every single moment of the process. But in your heart, you are clear that coming together and drifting apart both have their own timing. You will not feel that your entire life is ruined just because one experience has ended. You will carry the wisdom that experience brought you and continue walking forward with grace. This leads us to the deeper topic of how we can use the pain of loss to complete our own transformation. Many people have hearts made of glass. The slightest emotional setback, one experience of separation, and they shatter completely. From then on, they never trust anyone again. They become covered in thorns. Some people, to protect themselves, train their hearts into stone. They tell themselves that as long as they never feel anything, they will never get hurt. They become cold, lifeless figures. I hope that by this stage of our lives, we can cultivate a heart full of resilience. When that person leaves, when that connection breaks, this is actually life giving you a deep stress test. If you choose to lock yourself in a room and cry every day, you are wasting this opportunity for growth. If you can use this heartache to honestly reflect on why you always depend so heavily on others, to look at what you are truly afraid of deep inside, then this separation will become the greatest turning point in the second half of your life. Your heart will grow wider and stronger through each tearing and healing. It is like building muscle. Only through the soreness can new strength emerge. The pain in relationships works the same way. It is nourishment for the growth of your soul. Do not run from it. Face it bravely, digest it, and eventually turn it into a quiet confidence that lives inside you. The truth is, much of the time when we cannot let go of someone, it is not because we love them so deeply. It is because we are terrified of being alone. We habitually look for someone to fill the gaping hole inside us. But if you yourself are a person with a gap, you cannot become whole through another person. Two people who are both incomplete, bound together, will only create more wounds through friction. So when a connection ends and you are forced back into a life alone, this is actually a period of solitary retreat that life has arranged for you. It is forcing you to face the question you have been avoiding for most of your life. Can you be at peace with yourself? Loneliness and solitude are two completely different states. Loneliness is feeling empty inside, always wanting to grab something to fill the void. Solitude is a very elevated form of enjoyment. It is being able to sit quietly, brew a pot of good tea, listen to the birds outside the window, and feel that everything in this world is exactly as it should be. You do not need anyone to prove your existence. Only when you can make your days feel warm and full all by yourself. Only then is your love for others a pure act of sharing rather than a desperate form of begging. When you are no longer afraid of being alone, that is when you truly possess the ability to love. Because at that point, your love carries no burden. It asks for nothing in return. It falls naturally, like sunlight. In matters of the heart, we often carry a sense of scarcity. We feel that if we miss this one person, we will never meet anyone who understands us again. This mindset makes you cling to the other person like a drowning person gripping a piece of driftwood. But if you widen your perspective and look further, this world is enormous. As long as you are willing to keep expanding your horizons and opening your heart, you will find that there are actually many people you can connect with. The reason you feel this person is irreplaceable right now is only because you have locked yourself inside a tiny courtyard. When you step outside and see the vast world beyond, you will realize how insignificant your previous anguish really was. When your life contains not only romance but also passions you love, family you care about, reading and walks that quiet your mind, your life becomes like a rich and colorful mosaic. If one piece is missing, it is a pity, but the whole picture is still beautiful. At that point, when you look back at the person who insisted on leaving, you will no longer feel resentment. Instead, you will feel a sense of release. You will think, since you believe the scenery out there is better, then I wish you well on your journey, because my own world is equally wonderful. This is what it truly means to not hold someone back, not because you are heartless, but because you have found your own ground to stand on. You know who you are. You know what you want. You no longer need the eyes of another person to confirm your value. If a relationship has already made you feel suffocated, pained, or has caused you to doubt your own worth, that is your body and your intuition sending you a warning signal. It is reminding you that this relationship has a serious problem. If you pretend not to see these signals, if you lie to yourself and say just endure it a little longer, you are going against natural law. The only result will be deeper wounds. Much of the time, we refuse to let go because we see a breakup as a form of failure. The proud self inside us cannot handle the blow. We keep thinking, why am I the one being left behind? This victim mentality is the most toxic poison. It makes you push all responsibility onto others, and in doing so, you surrender the power to start again. Please remember, someone leaving is simply a fact that has already occurred. What causes your pain is not the fact itself. It is your interpretation of the fact. If you believe it means you are not good enough, you will feel inferior. If you believe it means life is filtering out the wrong people so you have room to welcome the right ones, your heart will instantly brighten. Your interpretation determines your world. You can choose to sink, or you can choose to rise. Everything exists in that single shift of perspective. When you feel so much pain that you can barely breathe, try observing the self that is in pain. Watch it the way you would watch a story about someone else on a screen. You will find that the sadness and anger are like a dark cloud drifting across the sky. The cloud comes and goes, but the sky is always there. You are that vast sky. You only need to quietly watch these emotions appear. Allow them to exist, but do not let them carry you away. We must hold a sense of reverence for the way life unfolds. We are not the divine. We do not have the right to arrange the life script of another person. Perhaps their leaving is the beginning of their own journey to find themselves. Perhaps your separation is the greatest gift you can give each other. In this practice called life, all we can do well is tend to our own hearts and walk our own paths. The karma of others is theirs to carry. Not interfering is also a form of compassion. In the end, if you truly want to move forward, please make some real changes in your daily life. Start with physical distance. Stop checking up on them. Stop scrolling through old photos. This is not being cold. This is creating an environment where your wound can actually heal. Take the time you used to spend stewing in silent resentment and use it to read a few good books. Go to the park and walk a few laps until you break a sweat, or learn a new skill. Let your body and your spirit both become busy and strong. The days of the past are already dead. The days of tomorrow have not yet arrived. All of your pain comes from replaying the past and imagining the future. Try pulling your heart back to this very moment. Feel the temperature of the warm water you just swallowed. Feel the solid ground beneath your feet. As long as you stand firmly on the ground of the present, pain has nowhere to land. Every breath you take is brand new. Every second you live through can never be repeated. Put your energy into these real existing things. and your heart will slowly settle. Life is a long journey that belongs to you alone. We come into this world with nothing. We leave with nothing. Every person who appears in your life is a guest. When guests arrive, we bring out our best tea and enjoy a good conversation. When guests are ready to leave, we open the door. If you lock the door because a guest wants to leave, that is called forcing. If you feel the house is too empty to live in just because a guest has gone, that means you have not taken care of your own inner world. What you need to do is keep your own heart clean and bright. Put fresh flowers on the table, hang something beautiful on the wall. Whether or not anyone comes to visit, you feel comfortable and at ease living inside yourself. This is the most important homework of our lives. A person with a rich inner world never feels the world is collapsing just because someone left, because their world was built by their own hands. Flowers bloom and fall in their own time. Do not let the cold of winter make you forget that spring will always come. The loneliness and the hard days you are going through right now are actually your roots growing silently underground, gathering strength to bloom even more beautifully next time. The people who leave you are truly just making space in your life. If your hands are always clenched tightly around a fistful of dead, withered leaves, when life tries to hand you a pearl, you will have no hand free to receive it. You must trust that as long as you keep kindness and clarity in your heart, as long as you keep becoming better, the truly beautiful things will flow toward you like water, slowly finding their way to your side. The law of the universe works this way. Like attracts like. The kind of person you become is the kind of person you will attract. When you live as a beam of light, people will naturally walk toward you, following that glow. So stop looking back. The road behind you has already been scattered by the wind. No matter how beautiful the scenery once was, it is already yesterday's story. The road ahead may be unclear, but precisely because it is unclear, it is filled with infinite possibility and hope. Carry this deepest compassion for yourself and for others. Open your hands. Let the water flow. Let them go. This is not only releasing them, it is your own redemption. The train called life is still moving steadily forward. Do not miss the vast and magnificent landscape unfolding outside your window just because of one passenger who has already stepped off. This is Zen Seeker Wu. I hope the words I shared today from the bottom of my heart can be like a beam of warm sunlight reaching into the dark corners of your mind. If you understood this truth of letting the water flow and letting them go, if you are also willing to start today being a person who has inner strength and allows everything to unfold naturally, please write in the comments, "I have let go and I embrace the future." And please remember to subscribe to this channel. Think of it as a small ritual marking your fresh start. Let us continue together in the days ahead, cultivating a heart that is clear, abundant, and free in this beautiful, messy human world. I wish you peace in all things. I will see you next time.